Well, hello everyone. Today we're going to explore one of the most transformative periods in world history, where the movement of goods, people, and ideas between the old and new worlds changed the course of history forever. We'll begin with the Columbian Exchange, a global network of trade that reshaped societies, economies, and even populations. From there, we'll delve into the commercial revolutions that followed, leading to massive changes in how economies operated and how people lived. And along the way, we'll examine everything from the rise of population due to new crops to economic challenges like the price revolution and even one of history's earliest financial bubbles, tulip mania. So at the end of today's lesson, you will be able to answer several key questions about how global trade and economic systems transformed the world. So this will be the first two questions of your mastery check. How did the Columbian Exchange affect global population, and how did capitalism differ from the medieval guild system? So let's get started with the first major event, the Columbian Exchange. The Columbian Exchange refers to the global exchange of goods, ideas, plants, animals, and diseases that began with Columbus' voyages in the Americas. This exchange had far-reaching effects on both the Old World and the New World. One of the most significant impacts of this exchange was the exchange of foods and animals. Europeans discovered highly nutritious foods like corn and potatoes, which were more nutrient dense than what they had back home. And in return, they introduced foods like wheat, grapes, bananas, and sugar to the Americas, along with animals such as cattle, pigs, goats, and chickens. But the exchange of foods didn't just change diets, it contributed to major population growth. Thanks to that better nutrition from American foods, European population experienced significant growth. These crops improved overall health, led to longer lifespans. But population growth wasn't the only movement happening. There was also a significant movement of people. Millions of people migrate as a result of the Columbian Exchange. Some Europeans sought new opportunities in the Americas, while millions of Africans were forcibly brought to the Americas through the Atlantic slave trade. Now let's take a look at the economic changes happening in Europe during this period, starting with what's known as the Commercial Revolution. The Commercial Revolution, spanning from the 1500s to the early 1700s, was a period of rapid economic expansion driven by European colonialism and mercantilism. It saw the rise of capitalism, banking, and investing, all of which reshape Europe's economy. However, this expansion comes with some challenges, including rising prices. You see, in the 1500s, prices began to rise across Europe. The influx of gold and silver from the Americas, especially through those Spanish treasure ships, created a situation where there was more money available than goods to spend it on. This led to inflation, and it became known as the price revolution. And speaking of unusual economic phenomena, let's explore one of history's first financial bubbles, known as tulip mania. Tulip mania occurs during the Dutch Golden Age between 1634 and 1637. It was the first recorded financial bubble in history, where speculative trading of tulip bulbs caused prices to skyrocket. Some bulbs are worth more than houses. So let's look at what led to this frenzy and how it eventually collapsed. So tulips are originally introduced to the Netherlands from the Ottoman Empire. They were rare. In certain varieties with vibrant colors and unique patterns, they became highly prized. This rarity and the desire for the most exotic tulips caused prices to skyrocket. Soon, people began trading bulbs like they were gold. In some cases, a single tulip bulb was worth more than an entire house. As demand grew, speculation took off. Tulip bulbs were bought and sold multiple times in a single day, and contracts were even made to buy bulbs at a future date. Buyers and sellers weren't just interested in the tulips themselves, they were betting on how much the bulbs would be worth in the future. Now imagine selling your house just to own a flower bulb. That's how intense that market was. But as with all bubbles, what goes up eventually must come down. Let's see how the bubble burst. In early 1637, prices began to collapse as buyers stopped showing up to the auctions. This leads to a massive financial losses for many people, from wealthy merchants to ordinary citizens. And although the long-term economic impact was small, tulip mania serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of market speculation. So let's turn our now, tulip mania is often cited as a cautionary tale about the dangers of this new market that's emerging. So let's look at a couple of those things. One of them is when people start buying something, not because they need it or value it, but because they think they can sell it for a higher price later. That's known as speculation. As we saw with tulips, speculation can drive prices to irrational heights. When people stop buying, the prices can collapse just as quickly. And sometimes people can get swept up in the excitement of rising prices. They see others making huge profits and don't want to miss out. But markets can't keep rising forever. At some point, they'll reach a breaking point, and when reality sets in, it can lead to financial ruin. Now, though tulip mania might seem like a strange or even humorous episode from the past, it does still provide valuable insights into human behavior and the risks that still exist in modern financial markets. So, as we've seen, the Columbian Exchange was about much more than just trading foods and animals. It led to massive population shifts, both voluntary and forced, and played a role in shaping the economic revolutions that followed in Europe. Tulip mania gives us an early glimpse into the risks of speculative trading, and that we still see in financial markets today. These events all show how interconnected the world became during this period, and how changes in one part of the globe had ripple effects everywhere. As we move forward, we'll continue to explore how these economic shifts affected different regions and societies. So thanks so much for joining me.